you're rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats.
Pramac Yamaha rider Jack Miller once again captured the public's attention at the 2025 Australian GP, right in front of his own fans at the PHILLIP Island circuit. In the 10th sprint race, Miller put in a truly exceptional performance, displaying incredible speed from the start. Starting from third position, P3, Miller immediately shot ahead and closely followed the two leading riders, Marco Bezzecchi and Raul Fernandez. The Australian crowd support, packed into the stands, made the atmosphere even more electric every time Miller overtook a rival in a fast corner. However, in the final laps, Pedro Acosta put in a stunning performance, forcing Miller to fight hard to maintain his position. Despite attempting several aggressive maneuvers, Miller ultimately had to give way and settle for fourth place, P4. Nevertheless, the result still surprised and impressed many, considering that Yamaha's performance with its latest V4 engine was beginning to show its mettle. Many observers suspect that Miller's improved performance this time was not simply a factor of home spirit, but also due to the development of Yamaha's V4 engine, which is now increasingly competitive against Ducati and KTM. In a brief post-race interview, Jack Miller expressed satisfaction with his result, but also emphasized that there was still room for improvement. "I'm happy to have a strong performance in front of my fans. The bike felt great today, especially in the fast corners. We're getting closer to the top riders, and I think Yamaha is really heading in the right direction," said Miller. Now, fans are starting to wonder, is this a sign of a true Yamaha V4 revival? And can Jack Miller return the favor with a podium finish on home soil in the main race? Here's the full story. The atmosphere at the PHILLIP Island circuit in Australia was truly electric as homegrown rider Jack Miller delivered a masterful performance in the 2025 Australian MotoGP sprint race with his new team, Pramac Yamaha. The cheers of thousands of fans filling the grandstands heated the atmosphere from the moment the lights went out. All eyes were on Jack Miller, the wild boy from Townsville, who was rediscovering his form after a difficult start to the season. Starting from third place, P3, Miller shot to the front as soon as the race began. Equipped with Yamaha's latest V4 engine, reportedly enhanced with a much smoother Aero system and power distribution, Miller was able to keep up with the two leading riders, Marco Bezzecchi of VR46 Ducati and Raul Fernandez of Trackhouse Aprilia. Early in the race, Miller even threatened Bezzecchi's position at turn 3, drawing cheers from the crowd. However, the battle intensified when Pedro Acosta began to rise mid-lap. The young KTM rider demonstrated incredible speed and ultimately pushed Miller to the limit. Despite Miller's best efforts, including his trademark aggressive and spectacular style, he ultimately conceded Acosta's superiority and finished the race in fourth place, P4. Miller remained satisfied and smiled as he crossed the finish line. In front of his home crowd, he knew that this performance wasn't just a matter of luck. It was a sign that the Yamaha V4 was truly coming to life. Many observers who had previously doubted Miller's decision to join Yamaha Pramac have now begun to change their minds. Since Yamaha introduced their V4 engine at the start of the 2025 season, the satellite team's performance has continued to improve sharply. Testing in Sepang and Jerez appears to be bearing fruit on the real track. In his post-race interview, Miller spoke optimistically. "I really enjoyed today's race. The bike worked incredibly well. We're not perfect yet, but the development direction is in the right direction. I feel more attuned to the bike every time I go out on track. Hopefully tomorrow in the main race, we can give the fans at home an even bigger surprise." This result also sends a serious signal to big teams like Ducati and KTM. Yamaha, which has been considered far behind for the past 2 seasons, is now starting to pose a new threat with its V4 engine, which is increasingly stable at high speeds and offers more aggressive acceleration on the straights. Meanwhile, the podium this time was filled by 3 equally impressive names. Marco Bezzecchi, VR46 Ducati, secured first place with a flawless performance. Raul Fernandez, Trackhouse Aprilia, surprised with a second-place finish, and Pedro Acosta, Gasca's KTM, closed out the podium in third with incredible speed in the final laps. But the biggest spotlight remained on Jack Miller, who performed with incredible passion in front of thousands of fans. Many called this performance the best version of Jack Miller in recent seasons. Some MotoGP analysts even speculated, is Miller's improved performance directly related to the updated Yamaha V4 engine, which now more closely resembles the characteristics of the Ducati engine? Or is it purely motivated by the emotion of competing on home turf, in front of his family and the Australian public? Whatever the answer, one thing is clear: Jack Miller and Yamaha are no longer opponents to be taken lightly. If this positive trend continues into the main race, it's not impossible that Miller will shake up the MotoGP world with a sensational podium finish on his home turf. And now, all eyes are on. Will Jack Miller cap off this weekend with a historic podium at the 2025 Australian GP? Or will Yamaha's V4 engine once again demonstrate a surprising evolution that could change the MotoGP standings this season? Ahead of the 2025 Australian Grand Prix at the legendary PHILLIP Island circuit, the atmosphere in the MotoGP paddock has suddenly become tense. This is not only due to the eager anticipation of the Australian public awaiting the action of their local son, Jack Miller, but also due to a major revelation from Pramac Racing boss Gino Borsoi, which has completely shocked the MotoGP world. In an exclusive interview with Italian media, Borsoi spoke with a serious and meaningful tone. He alluded to something big and sensitive happening within the Pramac Yamaha project, specifically involving Jack Miller and the new Yamaha V4 engine being developed for the 2026 MotoGP season. "There's something not everyone knows," Borsoi said with a tense expression. "Jack is more involved than many people think. He's not just racing, he's helping shape the future direction of this bike. But of course, not everyone in Japan is ready for his way of thinking." This statement immediately sparked a stir in the paddock. Some mechanics and technicians are reportedly divided on their views. Some support Miller's outspoken style, while others consider his approach too bold and against Yamaha's traditional system. A source within the Pramac team even revealed that Miller recently rejected the engine setup proposed by the Japanese technicians, saying it didn't suit the characteristics of a fast circuit like PHILLIP Island. Instead, he requested that the team try the third-spec V4 prototype engine, a version not previously planned for use in Australia. This bold suggestion has had a significant impact. Yamaha, known for its discipline and conservative approach, was reportedly surprised by Miller's decision, even leading some Japanese engineers to question the project's direction. However, Borsoi emphasized that Miller is demonstrating the leadership Yamaha needs to emerge from its slump. Jack is a rider who knows what he feels. He's not a robot. When he says something's wrong with the engine, he's usually right. And I think Yamaha should learn to listen to riders like him, the Pramac boss asserted. Amid immense pressure ahead of his home GP, Miller is now the center of attention in the MotoGP world. In Australia, local media called him Yamaha's new hope, who could bring new life to the V4 project, which had been under scrutiny by many. But behind the scenes, another rumor was circulating. A confidential source in the paddock claimed that Miller had signed an internal agreement to become Yamaha's main development rider for the first half of next season, alongside Fabio Quartararo and Toprak Razgatlioglu. If true, Miller's position would be highly strategic, potentially even rivaling Quartararo's influence within the main team. This is what fueled the situation. "Many don't like seeing Miller have such influence," said the source. But Borsoi seems to be protecting him, because he believes Miller has an extraordinary instinct for reading the characteristics of the V4 bike. Meanwhile, at PHILLIP Island, fans were waiting for the big moment. Thousands of Australian flags were flying, and Jack Miller's name was constantly chanted in the stands. They hoped that, amidst all the internal issues and manufacturer pressure, Miller could put on an extraordinary performance in front of his home crowd and silence all doubters with a spectacular performance. Moreover, the latest news indicates that the latest version of the Yamaha V4 Aero package arrived in Australia just hours before the start of practice. The package is said to be the result of direct input from Miller himself, featuring a new front fairing configuration and a cooling system similar to Ducati's design. Now, the big question arises: will Jack Miller resolve all the behind-the-scenes drama with impressive on-track action? Or is this shocking news from the Pramac boss just the beginning of a major storm that will rock Yamaha and Miller's relationship in the 2026 season? One thing is certain. PHILLIP Island will be no ordinary race. For Jack Miller, this is a proving ground. For Pramac Yamaha, this is the starting point for a major shift towards the future of V4 engines that could restore the blue line to MotoGP glory.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything just fade away. Cause she's like sex, drugs, cocaine, body so insane. Jealous of the clothing that she wears up on the tight frame.